Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Hello friends, welcome to a new episode of Drishti IAS editorial analysis. In this editorial analysis, we do three things. First of all, we link the editorial to the UPSC syllabus. Secondly, we try to understand the key points of the editorial. And thirdly, if any key concepts have come in the editorial and are important from exam point of view, we also discuss that. So let us begin today's editorial analysis. We have taken today's editorial from the Hindustan Times and it has appeared on 16th of June. The title of the editorial is India Needs Better Mental Health Care Systems. And the editorial says that India needs to address the structural and financial gaps, as well as it needs to change the mindsets about mental health care illnesses prevalent in India. Now let us look at its linkage with the syllabus. So the editorial links directly with GS paper 2. And under this we have government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. And also it links with welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population and with the issues relating to development and management of social sector services relating to health. Because here in this editorial we will be discussing the mental health care systems and their critical role for a country like India, where a significant section of the population is suffering from mental disorders. So after establishing this linkage with the syllabus, now let us see the key points of the editorial. Before moving on to the key points of the editorial, let us see what is mental health and what is the issue in India. So mental health is defined as a state of well-being where an individual can realize his or her potential, he or she can cope with the normal stresses of life, and he or she can work productively and is able to make contribution to the community. So if an individual is able to do all of this, then the person is said to be in a good mental health. Now let us look at some of the challenges facing India's mental health situation. So the major challenges faced by India in terms of mental health are the following. First of all, there is a deep lack of awareness among the public. Even those who are having this mental illness, they themselves are not clear or they don't want to say it out in the open because there is a lot of social stigma associated with being branded as a person who has mental illness. And there is also this lack of sensitivity that is prevalent among the family, community, society as far as dealing with the mentally ill persons is concerned. And according to WHO estimates, mental illness makes about 15% of the total disease conditions around the world. And this is a big number. And if we talk about India, it has one of the largest populations affected by mental illness. And the number is so huge that WHO has labeled India as the world's most depressing country, which is not a very good tag for any country. And through a study, it was found that between 1990 to 2017, almost 1 in 7 people from India has suffered from mental illness ranging from depression, anxiety to severe conditions such as schizophrenia. And it will not be wrong to say that India is suffering from a mental health epidemic. And through this flowchart, we can see how social stigma aggravates the mental health issues in a country like India. So whenever a person feels that he or she has some mental issues, then the person is immediately tagged as a lunatic because there is a lot of stigma attached with mental illness. That is why people are not willing to come out and accept that they have a mental illness and they should get treatment for it. And this leads to a vicious cycle of shame, suffering and isolation of patients, which only aggravates their condition. Now what is needed for this? First of all, a timely intervention by the healthcare personnel, more awareness about the issue, both at the individual level and at the family and societal level. There should also be availability of professional help as and when needed. And then there has to be appropriate policies framed by the government to make sure that the people who are suffering from mental illness get proper care and attention. Another important thing to note here is that the World Mental Health Day is celebrated on 10th of October and this is an important PT fact. After this background, let us look at the key points of today's editorial. The editorial says that India needs better mental health care systems And as we have seen that the situation of mental health care services in India is very alarming to say the least. And this mental health care system and their need for mental health care systems in India, it has come into prominence recently because of the unfortunate death of the film actor Sushant Singh Rajput, triggered a much needed conversation on mental health in India. Now, according to World Health Organization, over 90 million Indians, that is almost 7.5% of the population, they suffer from mental health issues. But if we look at the 2017 data, this figure is closer to 19.73 crores, which covers almost 14.3% of the population. So the number of people having mental health issues in India is very large. And the editorial quotes a study which was published in the Lancet magazine in December 2019. And the title of the study was The Burden of Mental Disorders Across the States of India and the Global Burden of Diseases study. And it is covering the period 1990 to 2017. And this study was conducted jointly by Indian Council of Medical Research and Public Health Foundation of India. And this study highlighted the scale of challenge facing India in the mental health sector. The study provided evidence that the mental health issues are the leading cause of non-fatal disease burden in India. And alarmingly, it said that 1 out of every 7 Indian is affected by mental health issues as per 2017 data. And it also pointed out that the proportional contribution of mental health to total disease burden has almost doubled since 1990. So this mental health problem is a growing problem. And it also said that suicide is the leading cause of death among the young people coming in the age group of 15 to 39, and this is as per the data of 2016. So all of this points to the scale of challenge that is facing India in the mental health sphere. Unfortunately, the sad reality is the government has not taken mental health very seriously, and it is shown by the evidence on mental health, which is very low. In fact, in financial year 2019, the budget allocated to National Mental Health Program, which we'll see later in the key concept section, was brought down to 40 crores from 50 crores earlier. So 50 crore was itself not a very big amount, but it was further cut down, which shows that mental health is not the priority for government. And even in the budget of 2020, there was no increase made on mental health. In addition to the low budget, there is also a shortage of mental health care personnel. And as per the data available, there are around 9,000 psychiatrists available in India. And the statistics become very bad when we look at the number of doctors or mental health care professionals available for 1 lakh people. So in India, we have only one doctor for 1 lakh people in mental health care field. Whereas WHO norms mandate that there should be at least 3 doctors per 1 lakh people. So India has a lot of catching up to do. And the editorial points out that the structural and financial issues need to be addressed by the government at the earliest. Another major challenge with the mental health care issue in India is the social stigma surrounding mental health illnesses. The individual, the family, and the society, they don't want to accept that somebody among them has this mental health illness. And that leads to a problem and a vicious cycle of shame, depression, and self-harm. So it is very important for the society to not stigmatize the victims and treat them as patients for any other ailment that can happen to any individual. There also needs to be a community support structure to be made available to the people who are suffering from mental illnesses so that they do not have to battle such problems alone. They need to have this support system made available to them. Also, the media needs to be responsible in its coverage of cases such as the recent suicide by the film actor. It needs to be covered sensitively because many a time it may give the wrong impression to people suffering from such mental illnesses that maybe suicide is a solution for their problems, which it is not. So the editorial makes this point that the media needs to be responsible in its reporting on such deaths and on mental health issues so that it does not further stigmatize the victim of such mental illnesses. So this was all in the key points of the editorial. Now let us look at the key concepts. So in key concepts, first of all, let us look at National Mental Health Program, which was launched in 1982. This program was launched for detection, management and treatment of mental illness. And in 1996, the District Mental Health Program was launched under National Mental Health Program. And the major components of District Mental Health Program are counseling in schools and colleges, workplace stress management, life skills training, suicide prevention services, and IEC activities, which are information, education, and communication strategies for generation of awareness and removal of stigma associated with mental illness. So this is an important program and can be asked in exam. The next one is the Mental Health Act of 1987. This was enforced in 1993, replacing the Lunacy Act of 1912. So here we can see that even the government acts were named like Lunacy Act. So which shows the kind of stigma that has been attached to mental disorders from the very beginning. And this act largely aimed at the regulation and administration of mental health care in institutional settings. It also included provisions for treatment of persons with mental illness in general hospitals and provisions for discharge from institutions. After this came the National Mental Health Policy of 2014, and this aimed to promote mental health and prevent mental illness, enable recovery from mental illnesses, promote destigmatization and desegregation, and ensure socio-economic inclusion of mentally ill people. Then comes the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2017, and this act acknowledges mental illness as a disability and seeks to enhance the rights and entitlements of the disabled and provide effective mechanism for ensuring their empowerment as well as inclusion in the society. And finally, we have the Mental Health Care Act of 2017. This seeks to ensure rights of the person with mental illness to receive care and to live a life with dignity. Some of the key features of this act are: 1. The right of persons with mental illness. So it provides right to access to healthcare, it provides right to live with dignity, and it provides right to confidentiality, that a person with mental illness shall have the right to confidentiality in respect of his mental health care, treatment and physical health care. It also provides for this advance directive, which we should know. So this empowers a person with mental illness to make an advance directive which states how he or she wants to be treated for the illness and who his or her nominated representative shall be. Because many a times the person who is suffering from mental illness is not able to decide the course of action, the course of medical treatment that he or she has to undergo. So through advance directive, that person can nominate somebody who he or she trusts to take decision on his or her behalf. And the act also mandates the government to set up central mental health authority at national level and state mental health authorities in every state. And also every mental health institute and mental health practitioners will have to be registered with the authority. It also provides direction about the mental health treatment, and it says that the mentally ill person shall not be subjected to electroconvulsive therapy without the use of muscle relaxants and anesthesia. And this electroconvulsive therapy cannot be used on minors. This electroconvulsive therapy has been in lot of controversy, and many experts do not regard this electroconvulsive therapy as the right course of treatment. Also, sterilization will not be performed on such persons. They shall not be chained in any manner or under any circumstances, which also used to be a common practice, and they shall not be subjected to seclusion or solitary confinement. And finally, the most important thing done by this Mental Health Care Act 2017 was the decriminalization of suicide. And before this, suicide was a punishable offense under IPC section 309. This is important from prelims point of view. And this Mental Health Care Act 2017 has decriminalized it, stating whosoever attempts suicide will be presumed to be under severe stress and shall not be punished for it. So this has been a welcome change in the laws. Now let us look at what steps can be taken by the government to address this mental health care challenge in India. So first of all, the government should make appropriate budgetary provisions to address the existing infrastructure gaps. Secondly, a proper survey should be conducted to identify shortages in mental health care professionals and operational barriers to effective implementation of mental health programs. There is also an urgent need of easily available diagnostic tests and low cost treatment to provide better primary mental health care. And the government should also ensure insurance covers for mental illness to reduce the economic burden. There is also a need to create living conditions and environments that support healthy mental health. It is important to develop a society that respects and protects basic civil, political, and cultural rights. And it is important to aim at child development by early childhood interventions like preschool psychosocial activities, nutritional and psychosocial help, so that the risk of developing mental illnesses reduces. And to reduce the burden of mental disorders in women, there is a need to ensure their socio-economic empowerment and ensure their safety. Most importantly, public awareness needs to be created about the commonness of mental disorders, understanding of mental disorders as illnesses, their treatment, and the importance of acceptance by the family and community for their well-being. Finally, a coordinated effort from all stakeholders, which includes government, medical fraternity, civil society, educational institutions, family, peer group, and community, are needed to address the growing concern of mental health in India. And if this is done, then India will be able to address the mental health challenge that it is facing. So this was all in the editorial analysis. Now let us look at the kind of questions that can be asked. So in prelims, you can be asked about National Mental Health Program and other initiatives by the government. One can also be asked about Mental Health Care Act 2017 and what changes it has brought about. And one of the most important change has been this decriminalization of suicide, which used to be an offense under IPC section 309. So this can also be asked in prelims. Also, this study which has been quoted in the editorial, which was conducted by ICMR, which is Indian Council of Medical Research and Public Health Foundation of India. So this is very important. We should be knowing that which are the agencies which conducted this research and what were the important findings. In mains again, the question can revolve around the National Mental Health Program or the Mental Health Care Act 2017 and what are their challenges and what steps or measures that the government should take to address them. And also a question can be asked on the social stigma surrounding mental health illnesses and how it can be removed. What are the interventions that need to be done to remove the social stigma surrounding mental illness? So these are the questions that can be asked in prelims and mains. So this was all in today's editorial analysis. We'll see you next time with another editorial. Thank you.